So we're going to talk about this. We're in the middle of a series right now. Okay, identify, remove, and proactive, and we are talking about you know removal and also the other side of positivity of friends. So I want to share something that was brought to my attention by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. I had a student come to Israel and asking me like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this book before?" It's like, "Yeah, of course I heard of this book." So basically, he writes the following point. Give me a second, and I will find it for you. He says that Viktor Frankl writes when he talks about searching for meaning, he says, "How do you find meaning? Meaning, the first section in Mesilat Yesharim, Chovat Ha'adam Be'olamo, discusses like how do you go about finding your goal in life, which is the starting point of everything. Okay, how do you find meaning? So Mesilat Yesharim goes through, what's man's goal and so on and so forth, and the book effectively tries to perfect your character in search of that. So Viktor Frankl says, and this is kind of the rule of thumb. It's such a powerful point. Um, you find meaning in three things. One is by accomplishing your goals. Two is hardships teach you meaning, your meaning. And three, friends. Okay, so let's go over them again. And then you'll see that they have a common thread. All right, sorry, it's a little noisy. Okay, first of all, um, accomplishing your goals. Goals help us find meaning. When you don't have a goal, when you're just roaming aimlessly, right? That within itself is a sense of just deterioration. I remember when I first started teaching many years ago. So I taught in this institution that I've since then brought back one of the students to go see it. It was a place for kids from boys from very difficult backgrounds. Okay, like they were all religious, but they were like upset at religion. They were like super upset, super, you couldn't talk to them. They wouldn't come to class. They would stay up all night and then only start their day like at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I would give the first class of their day, which is at 4 o'clock. That's how their cycle would be for a month or two. And the Rosh Shiva at the time, Rabbi Liff, the brother Rabbi Liff from Neve, he just kind of let them go, like let them do that day after day, week after week, and sometimes month after month. And we were, when I first came around, I was like, what's going on? Why is he holding no discipline here? And I slowly got to see that they themselves awakened themselves to being productive and studying and change and growth once they lived that type of lifestyle too much. These boys were 18 years old at the time, and they would stay up and they would go out to town and they come back at dawn and sunrise and they would sleep the whole day. I'm talking to you about a situation where they did not see sun like sun for a week or two. They would come and say like they're like, oh my gosh, I saw like light today. It was an accomplishment. And the point is like, what was that all about? Why does that work? So the Rosh Hashiva would just let them be because they needed to discover the bitterness on their own of being non-productive. Okay? And they would. Everyone came around at some point or another. I taught there for a few years, a good few years, and I would see like everyone came around. Why? Because when you're wasting your time without any meaning, then effectively your neshama, your soul, can't take it. Now, where does that come from? Where does that come from? And I just want you to know that sometimes that's the only way to get to a teenager is kind of give them that journey. There are kids that, go to school and do their homework and are very driven and motivated, and then there are kids that are not. And as much as you try and get them into it, they won't work. They'll just rebel. They kind of have to discover by trial and error that a life, without meaning is not a life of value. It's not going to take them anywhere. They won't feel good about it. So where does that come from? The school, with this concept that you have to search for meaning, and accomplishments is one of those tools used. So Mesilat Yesharim in this first chapter says that, and explains it in different other places. True happiness only comes from connection to God. Okay. In a non-religious perspective, meaning those that experience a level of happiness, right? It's always when they have some level of meaning. Even people that do things wrong, even God forbid murderers, right? They have to justify their actions that it's on a greater good. Oh, that person deserved it, or something like that. Why? Even Lahavdil, Elf Avdalot, the Nazis, they had to say they were cleansing the world of the Jews. Why? Why can't you just say you're doing an evil action? You're doing bad. What's wrong with just saying? Because a person's Tselem Elokim, that person's image, um, it comes from God. We're born and created in the image of God. And our soul needs a higher calling. So much so, we've spoken in other classes that a life without meaning, okay, is very depressing. And so much so that a life with meaning people will give up their lives. Like we said, I think, the kamikazes in World War II in Japan, they would give up their lives and smash into a naval ship, physically giving up their life because of meaning. All right. So accomplishing something, when you have a goal and you accomplish it, it might be a small goal, but that is a major force in life. That is one of the ways you find your meaning. Now, meaning could change, there's the bigger meaning in life, and then there's your meaning could change day by day, hour by hour, which is also good. Okay, you wake up in the morning and okay, what's today's goal? That's what Modeh Ani is. Modeh Ani, right, or Modani for girls, right? I hope little halacha insert over there. Modeh Ani is all about thanks, right? Thanking, being thankful for what we have, a life of giving and being productive. The first thing you say in the morning. Unfortunately, in our generation, the first thing we do in the morning is check our phones. How many people just by a quick show of smile on your thingy, check their phone as soon as they wake up, within the first 15 seconds type of thing. Check your phone right away, as if Biden needs to find out. He's waiting for you to respond to Middle East policy, and he won't move until you text him back. So the first thing
I check it, but it's so hard to break the habit.
I'm telling you, it's not a thing. It's totally not a thing. Plug your phone in somewhere else, in the room or in the kitchen or something like that. Leave the ringer. I don't even have my phone on ringer if you really want to know. I have it on vibrate and I keep it in my backpack or something like that. And then I don't plug it in by my bed. It's terrible. You wake up in the morning, first thing, your eyes are still crusty and you're checking your phone, what happened? Then you text the stupidest things because you just woke up. So you're not even focused, right? But the point is, as Viktor Frankl is saying, a life worth meaning, right? How do you find meaning? The first way is accomplishing your goals. And we've spent a lot of time together studying. It's interesting for me to come up with new material, right? But we've spent a lot of time studying. How do you find your goals? Okay, you have to make sure. We said Stephen Covey says in Seven Habits, make sure that your ladder is leaning against the right wall. You're climbing up and down and putting things on the shelf. But if it's not the shelf, if it's not supposed to be on that shelf, it's supposed to be on another shelf somewhere, a different wall, and you're just climbing up and down and working hard, even though you're raising kids, you're married, you're working, you're this, all this kind of stuff, but you're working hard, but you're not doing what you need to do. That's not the meaning Hashem wants you to have. So self-identification, being perceptive, developing a willingness to have a conversation with Hashem, and also a willingness to be open to changing your meaning, um, you know, if you feel that that's where the current's going. Like just on a personal level, go Sephardic and Gesher, we had all these plans and schedules and things like that before October 7th. Everything changed. We're open to adapting. So accomplishing goals, and I should hope that you all are, have your goals lined out from different perspectives. I'm working now with I'm working on a project with someone on this call actually about fine tuning the MSBR system. Let me just close the door for a second so you don't. It's a little noisy where I am. Just fine tuning the MSBR system because it helps you stay focused with your goals. Okay, so the first step of knowing living a life of meaning, one of the aspects is accomplishing goals, making sure you have goals and you're accomplishing. Because if not, as I said, that story of those kids are 18, you just live without meaning. It takes you nowhere. You feel meaningless. All right. There's a famous Dvar Torah. We've said it before that the Gemara says that the highest way to focus, the highest way to really have strength and do good is understanding that there's a day of death. And yet we find by Esav that when he was offered all the mitzvot, he said, I don't want to do it. You only live once. What do you mean? Make up your mind. Does the day of death and the fact that life is temporary inspire us, like the Gemara says, or does it reroute us, like Esav said, you only live once, go party, go crazy? The answer is it's really about your outlook. Like, which way are you taking it? You could use anything in life for destruction. You can use anything in life for strength. Hashem gives you that opportunity. We need to take our mindset and make sure we have a sense of meaning. We have a sense of goal. So that's the first part. The second thing that gives us meaning, okay, is hardships. Okay, hardships. Once again, challenges that Hashem sends you, and just for us to understand, we've spoken about this. Like, we're not life, parenting, marriage, all of that is not meant to be easy. Sorry, I'm just going to show the chat. Okay, it's not meant to be easy, and it's not a sense of failure. It actually should be inspiring. Meaning, in this time and age, with everything that's going on in the world, in the cities, with Israel, with the Jews, you should have the attitude of like, I'm not taking a step back. I'm only taking a step forward. So many challenges, but they're not challenges. They're lives of opportunity. Okay, Zelig Pliskin wrote a book, Anger, and he titled it, just the title is amazing, The Inner Teacher. You could use anger to destroy you, or you could see, no, look, anger is teaching me something about myself. So again, you want to find meaning. So you harness hardships and you don't take a step back. You work on taking a step forward and becoming better and growing with it. That gives you a sense of meaning. Okay.
Which book is that?
It's called the book. There's two books talking about. One is Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, and then there's a book by Zelig Pliskin. It's called Anger, the Inner Teacher.
Thank you.
Okay, and he discusses that like, it's the concept that your challenges are not something you should shy away from. We've spoken about this in class. Like, the greatness of who you are your talents. Your talents are the things that Hashem gave you to make you, your family, your community, the world a better place. Okay, those are your talents. Your challenges are what fine-tunes you and makes you greater. And when you remove them, your talents can shine. So you don't just focus on your talents and you don't just focus on your challenges. They work together, to make the great person and great impact that you have. All right. So there's accomplishing goals, there's hardships, and there's friends. The third thing that helps us find meaning is friendships. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Friends help you find meaning. Now, to explain this, I want to talk about what the common theme is with all these goals hardships, and friends. Friends is not just limited to friends, but so the answer is like this. They all share a common theme, and the idea is like this. In order to find meaning, you're searching for meaning. How do you find meaning, right? Let's all the same term. How do I find meaning? I'm searching for meaning. What is my meaning? By definition, a meaningful life or finding meaning is something that's outside of yourself. If I'm telling you, how do I find it? How do I search for it? That means I don't have it. So meaning, and this is the point I want to, us to dwell on. Meaning is found outside of ourself. Meaning is not here. Meaning has to be developed. It has to be found. And everything that creates meaning is something that's outside of yourself. Okay. So accomplishing goals. I want to be an astronaut. I'm not an astronaut now. That goal has given me meaning now. I want to be this. I want to be that. I want to do that. I want to accomplish that. That means you don't have it now. If you don't have it, the search for it, the struggle for it, the accomplishment for it, that's your sense of meaning. Okay? The same things with hardships. Hardships, ready? Let's talk about a tough hardship, right? You reach a point that you can't change the situation. You can't change the person. You can't change the financial status. You can't change whatever it is you can't change. So there's only one thing left to change, and that's us. Again, it makes you find a part of yourself that didn't exist prior to that. And that's, again, a theme of meaning. All right. The third is friends. Okay. Friends and all types of relationships and roles that we have outside of ourselves help us find meaning. Okay. One of the most challenging and fruitful things is marriage. Harder than that is raising kids. Okay. I always tell you, kids, especially teenagers, it's like going to the dentist and the dentist tells you you have to have a root canal, but without any anesthesia. And you ask him why, he just says, just because. Like, what do you mean just because? It's going to hurt for no reason. It's like, yeah, that's raising kids. Makes like no sense. Okay. But the idea is the same thing. It pulls you outside of yourself. You have to wake up at 4 a.m. to change your diaper after working a full day, all that. It's going to make you discover parts of yourself you never knew existed. All right. And that again helps you find meaning. So we have a world that Hashem created for us. And remember what we said, meaning is one of the most powerful energies, forces that we have. Meaning is more powerful to us than pleasure. Okay, it's a force that if you can discover meaning. So we're talking about identifying what you want to work on and removal, and then we're going to get into proactive, a little more down the road. But one of the things that we wanted, we hit the point of like friends. All right, we hit the point of friends, and friends doesn't just mean friends; it also means people that surround you. Understand that the right friends and the right people surrounding you can help you find meaning and can make you into a greater person. The wrong friends and the wrong people surrounding you can destroy just as much. And friends today is not just the person that you walk and go for a walk with in the park. Friends might be who you're hanging out with on TikTok. I should hope that none of us here, have Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok on our phone, because those are your friends. Those are your people. Those are people you hang out with. Who do you hang out with when you're swiping all day? Some, I don't know what. I have no idea. Some weirdo that you see. I remember looking at some of the things on Instagram. It's just so stupid. Like some guy who's like 50 years old and like is like handsome or whatever, and like just takes a picture of him walking or a video of him walking out of a store. Okay, what are you bringing to the world? What value you're adding to your life? Okay, what have you added to me? Why am I spending time watching the fact that you put on a jacket? It's so stupid. Like, what value does it have? And if you want to be connected, I told you a million times, put it on your computer, check it once a day, and all that kind of stuff. But friends doesn't mean just like the people you hang out with to go out to eat. In our small world today, it's also like, who are you hanging out with from a social media perspective? Don't tell me your mind has clear thinking if you spend endless amount of time. I don't even know. I say like Facebook, Instagram. The students are like, "Who has Facebook today? Instagram's so old. Now it's TikTok." Whatever it is the point. It's gonna hurt your sense of meaning and direction, because just like friends help you find meaning, friends also help destroy meaning. And in all these, if just like if you don't have goals, you don't have meaning. Just like if you fall in hardships all the time and you don't embrace them, you don't have meaning. Just so too, if you don't have the right friends, people surrounding you, also doesn't help you find meaning. Because anything outside of meaning comes from the people outside of yourself, or the situations outside of yourself that you can connect to. You're not connecting to anything like that. So when we're talking about like removal, and we're talking about building a life of productivity, then these three things have to be aligned. You have to be able to have a clear sense of thought with them, clarity. It's almost like someone who has a drug addiction is going to have a hard time being productive and good in life, because you have this thing that's like weighing you down. You know, you have this thing that's weighing down. So today's class is about friends. I just want you to understand, like from a Torah perspective, how important Torah, friends is. Like the Torah talks about in Bamidbar, that Moshe Rabbeinu, the Am Yisrael was complaining that they didn't have food, didn't have food, didn't have food. Moshe Rabbeinu told Hashem, said, "Why did you give me this nation? Like I'm responsible for it. Like how am I supposed to solve this?" Hashem didn't calm Moshe Rabbeinu down and say, "I'll take care of it." He said, "Listen, surround yourself with the Chachamim, with the elders. Like get friends." Rabbi Sachs, Jonathan Sachs talks about this. So surround yourself with the right people, and they'll help you get through it. Even Moshe Rabbeinu needed friends. Even Moshe Rabbeinu needed the right support system. And Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to God, because friends, the right friends, nurture and help you discover the right relationships. Okay, it's not just friends. The right relationships help you nurture and discover the parts of you that are outside of yourself. That helps you find meaning. Okay. All right. I'll stop on this point. God willing. Bezrat Hashem, I hope you guys resonate with